pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you everybody for joining us this evening. We've got a pretty heavy agenda with a lot of special occasions to celebrate tonight. So our order is going to be a little bit different because we have some special guests. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Ward for his update first, and then we'll get into our normal committee updates following that.
Let's see. So we have several microphones tonight just to make sure that we're covered. I want to start out with our New York State. Actually, I'm going to start out with the retirees. So we have several retirees here this evening. We have many people who are retiring. Congratulations to them. We want to recognize the folks that are here. President Bishop, if you don't mind coming over to the table with me, we do have a small memento for each one of those retirees. I'm going to grab my paper. Okay. So I know I'm going a little bit out of order, but I want the retirees, they've been here many, many years, so I want to make sure they get a cupcake and have time to eat it before they need to get home and get to bed. I do want them to be able to enjoy that while they're seeing all our students being recognized tonight. So please play along with me as I changed up just a little bit. So I want to start out first. I can see him sitting right there. I already went and spoke with him. We do have something for you. The names are on them. Yes. So I'm going to start out with Tom Murphy, Transportation Supervisor, 17 years of service to the district. Tom, I want to thank you so very, very much, and thank you for running me through the paces of the bus driving test so I could keep my license active, so you could keep me on the roster and consistently hold it over my head every single day to let me know if I didn't behave myself, I would be on a school bus driving the longest route that you had. But seriously, thanks to you and all you've done for our school. It's been an exceptionally challenging time for transportation for your entire career, but certainly the last 2 years, exceptionally challenging. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. We wish you luck in retirement. Turn your phone off because we might call you again. But good luck to you for a happy and healthy retirement.
I appreciate it. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Next up, I see her out there, I believe. My eyes aren't great. Melissa, is that you? Melissa Caro, high school math teacher, 32 years of service to the district. Thank you so very, very much. We'll give a round of applause just for the 32 years. Thank you for your countless acts and instruction to our students over the years. Again, especially for the last couple very challenging. I once had a colleague who was an English teacher who said, hey, the last couple of years, if they ask me to do it standing on my head, I can do it and I'll make it through and the kids will have a great experience. The world kind of asked you to stand on your head the last couple of years. So thank you for holding up that headstand and getting our kids through everything, and congratulations to you. Good luck for a happy, healthy, and long retirement. Is Mrs. Hartman out there? I'm still going to speak to her. Mrs. Karen Hartman, special education teacher, 30 years of service, always a special place in my heart for anybody who works with students with disabilities, obviously all students, but especially students with disabilities. So thank you to her for 30 years of service working with one of our most needy populations. Congratulations to her. Best of luck for a happy and healthy retirement. Next up, I don't think I see Yolanda. Yolanda, if you're out there.
No.
Yolanda Messier, assistant cook, 24 years of service, always takes good care of me in the high school cafeteria, so I appreciate that. serving lunches to students for 24 years. We can't do it without folks that are working in these positions. So I want to also congratulate. Probably worth noting, I know you already clapped, that she likely served lunches to many people who are up here on the stage as board members. I'm guessing. Is that right, President Bishop? That's true. So she put up with these folks. Congratulations to her. Next person is definitely out there. Tammy Steininger, account clerk, working in the IT department most recently. I'm not sure of her entire history, but 22 years of service to our district. Thank you very much. And again, working with the boss that you work with every single day can be challenging. She pushes the envelope. She's a great person. I don't mean it that way, but she wants us on the cutting edge, so I'm sure she kept you right there. Thank you for all the support you provided to her and everybody else in the department. We couldn't do it without you, and we wish you the best of luck for a happy and healthy retirement. Didn't see, is Joe Veely out there? So Joe Veely, a school bus driver, 17 years of service. Again, a very important job. Frontline, the first face that a kid sees every morning, the last face that a kid sees every single night. Incredibly important, incredibly hard to find these days. So if you know folks out there that want to be school bus drivers, please have them give us a call here at school. But for Joe Veely, I want to thank him. 17 years of service, getting our kids to and from safely, and that's something that's quite an accomplishment for sure. Yeah, so this guy wins the Duration Award, and he retired a little bit earlier in the year, but we wanted to recognize him tonight now that we can be back in person. So I want to so he got his memento already, but I want to recognize Donald Dupree, building maintenance helper, 45 plus years of service. Don, we'd like to have you come up. I'd like to just say a few words and shake your hand, but I don't have another present for you. So if that's why you're here, I apologize. You can have a cupcake though. 45 years here working in the school district. You've been working in the school district longer than some of the people up here on the stage before they were born. And certainly appreciate all that you have to do. Again, working behind the scenes. I think the last position that you had was moving stuff between buildings. So I appreciate you taking stuff around for me and for everybody in my office and across school districts. Incredible career, 45 years in the same place. Thank you for your dedication. You don't see that every single day anymore, and it's something for us to recognize. So congratulations to you. We wish you a happy, healthy, and long retirement as well. Thank you so much. This next person was not able to be here tonight, but I do want to recognize Ron Monahan, building maintenance helper, and with 8 years of service, most recently working over at the primary school. I'm not sure of his exact history throughout his 8 years here, but I know he was a guy that you could count on to make sure the building was clean and things were fixed so the students were safe. So congratulations to Ronald Monahan, building maintenance helper, 8 years of service. Best of luck for a long and healthy retirement. So I'm going to go back, and we're going to go back to the New York State Seal of Bilateral Recipients. So I'm going to ask at this time that the foreign language teachers come up and take over the show. We've got some pretty exciting stuff to share tonight. We've got some students here to be recognized. Probably it is my favorite part of the job, is getting to recognize students, getting to recognize our retirees. But this time I'll turn it over, but I'm going to say it first and I'll probably say it last. Congratulations to the students who are receiving the New York State Seal by Literacy. Quite an accomplishment, and thank you to our teachers for getting them there. Nobody gets there by themselves, so we appreciate that very much. And that mic, you may have to push the button to make it work. And they've got it Velcroed down. So if you want, I can hand you this one.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ward. So today we're recognizing 6 recipients for the New York State Seal of Biliteracy. This is our 3rd year offering the Seal of Biliteracy, and this is our largest group of recipients. We have 2 recipients that received it in French and 4 recipients in Spanish. So a little bit about the Seal of Biliteracy, if you're unaware of exactly what it means, is a student must have achieved a certain level of proficiency identified by New York State and the Foreign Language Council, and that level of proficiency is intermediate high, which means that they can carry on and converse and speak about familiar topics and some things that they may not be familiar with, which they were tested on when they did their presentations. A little history about the Seal of Biliteracy is it began in 2008 in California. New York State was the 2nd state to offer it. It does a great job recognizing what foreign language teachers have spent their careers trying to do. Recognize the importance of diversity, of many cultures, of speaking and appreciating home life and home cultures as well. So these students, we have, like I said before, French and Spanish students, and who knows, maybe in the future we'll have, Ms. Hickey has a student that may be able to earn it in 3 languages. So that is something to look forward to as the program advances. So I'm going to hand it over to you, and you can introduce our first recipient.
All right. So our first recipient, which is a French student, is Tom Bowstead. He is going to tell you about his project that he did on a French-speaking country.
So basically, I just did a presentation on the history, the culture, and the people of Equatorial Guinea, which is a small country on the west coast of Africa, speaks French and Spanish primarily. But yeah, it was just an overview of the country. So, yeah.
No, we did that. Should be speaking to this background.
The next student that we'd like to recognize is John Gomez, Spanish student.
So my project was about Puebla. I talked about the history, the food, and about the sports, soccer. In Puebla, it's a small city in central Mexico.
And the next recipient is Christina Lombardo.
So I did my project on, it's called Boricua, because I did my project on what it is to be Boricua, and that is what it is to be a Puerto Rican. And I talked about the history, I talked about the food, I talked about the culture. So, yeah.
And the next recipient is Riley Mahar. Although they're trying to
So I talked about La Danza Cubana, which is Cuban dance, and I talked about all the different styles and the history of each of them. He was dancing, yes.
So these students actually do a presentation. They have to do a presentation in English, which they present, and then they, from a panel of evaluators, they are asked questions, and then they have to do the same, a different presentation in the whatever language their second world language is. So for these students, French or Spanish, they spoke entirely in that language, and then they were asked several questions and asked to expand on a lot of ideas in that language. And the last Spanish recipient is Lauren Pulver.
So my presentation was about bullfighting in Spain. So I talked about the history of it, the dangers of it, the modern day evolution, and the controversy of it.
Last up, but certainly not least, our second French presentation was from Ashlyn Hutchinson.
I did my presentation on a beautiful French island, Martinique, that is near the Caribbean. It is known as the Island of Flowers, and I talked a lot about what you would entail when going there, food, activities, the tours you could go on, and just Martinique in general.
So this seal that they're getting will be going on their diploma as well as their official transcripts as well. So as they continue on to universities or jobs, it will say that they are bilingual, which is great.
Highly recommended. These moments don't last forever. We're good. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you so much. Please have a cupcake. Or a cookie. And next I'd like to have, is Tom out there? Yes, he is. Tom, do you mind coming up to the stage? And I'm going to say this one more time, so I've said it to everybody. This young man was in my, I want you to come up here. I'm going to make you come up here. I would have gotten Colleen as well. I would have gotten Mrs. Villa as well. This young man was in my biology class, and as a 10th grader, I think, way back 9th or 10th grade in Long Lake, I couldn't be more proud of him. He doesn't like to talk about him. I'm going to talk about him just for a second by saying, my goodness, I would never thought you'd be a science teacher based on that 10th grade biology class. But in all seriousness, thanks for what you do. The Science Symposium was great. I know you're going to have the students do most of the speaking. If we could ask them to come up on stage just so we can hear a little better, that would be great. And congratulations again to the foreign language folks. You guys lucked out. Next time I'll get you guys up on the stage. So, Mr. Bartuli.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ward. I'm going to turn it over to them real quick and then talk about some awesome things that happened at the end of the year. But so real quick, if you don't know about the program, it's a 3-year program where students pick a general topic of research and they research it to its conclusion. So starting sophomore year, and then by the time their senior year, they should have all their data and they go to various competitions and things like that. So what I wanted to have them do is just a very, very quick hey, this is my topic, just to give you an idea for those that didn't get a chance to check out the symposium. So I'm going to start with the sophomores. We've got a big sophomore group. And again, please, if you have questions, whenever, towards the end or whenever, grill them, please, because they should be prepared. So the first one, I'm going to turn it right over. Aiden.
Hello everyone, I'm Aiden Shaw and I'm investigating the recovery rate in males to females in stuttering. In stuttering, for every male who recovers, there are 3 females who recover. So I am investigating why that is, and information on it is scarce because of environmental and genetic factors that can also affect the process. But it'll be interesting, so cheer me on. Come on, Will. Get me off the stage.
Hi, my name is Will Kuhn. My research title is How Mindfulness Meditation Affects Precision and Accuracy in Baseball. Over the course of time, I will be presenting or conducting an experiment that consists of participants listening to an audio segment of mindfulness meditation, and I will be seeing if that affects them, whether they can be more precise in hitting the strike zone.
Hi, I'm Emma Albrecht, and I will be investigating the effect of emotion processing on reaction times in individuals with social anxiety disorder. And I want to see if the severity of the social anxiety would differ in their reaction times.
I'm Bree Wicks, and I'm going to study the effect of neurofibromatosis type 1 on the pediatric population. NF1 is an autosomal dominant disorder, but I do not 100% know where my research is going.
Hi, I'm Marissa Colvin. My study would be on maladaptive daydreaming and its effect on executive functioning in adolescence, which is unaddictive daydreaming, and how it affects the thought process and the way kids act in class.
My name is Justin Hutchinson, and I'm investigating the effects of biochar on the Solanum lycopersicum plant. Biochar is biomass heated to a high temperature under reduced oxygen states.
My name is Elizabeth Donnelly, and I'll be studying the circadian rhythm disruption and its effect on the body. Circadian rhythm disruptions are basically disruptions in your sleep-wake cycle, and I'll also be further looking into possibly studying plants and other microorganisms.
Allie's not here tonight. So
My name is Lucy Ray, and I will be studying the effects of sensory stimulation on ELA testing scores in high ADHD symptom students. I will be looking into the student population here in Hudson Falls, and I would like to see if external stimuli such as fidget spinners or other fidget toys that you may have seen your kids using at home will give them better focus on their tests and see if it can improve testing scores.
Hi, my name is Gavin Supana, and with the help of my mentor, Dr. Lawrence Marks from Yale University, I'm studying the identification of the prevalence of synesthesia in elite athletes using synesthesia screening tools. And synesthesia is when one sense is stimulated and has a perceptual experience through the stimulation of another sense. For example, if you were reading the word grape, you would have a visual experience in your head and see the color green.
And Paul is not here either. I don't think he's not here tonight. So before the juniors jump up, so basically what sophomores are doing right now, this is their preliminary work, what they're thinking about doing. Juniors right now are in the midst of data collection, so they are just going to give a quick blurb where their hypothesis is. They are all taking data currently, so that's kind of where they're at now. So I'll have the first one. I don't know who's down.
Hi, my name is Dominic Doyle, and I will be investigating the effect of shoe surface interaction on available traction and analyzing different footwear and playing surface with a correlation to non-contact lower extremity injury. With this study, I hypothesized that surface-specific footwear will allow for the highest rates of available traction, and this in turn would have a positive effect on lower extremity non-contact injury rates.
My name is Lana Graves, and I'm going to be studying how glyphosate and Roundup will affect the reproduction, replication, and behavior in planaria. And for this, my hypothesis is going to come to when planarian are exposed to higher concentrations of glyphosate and Roundup, they're going to experience increased regeneration times, slowed regeneration times, and increased mutations in their heads.
Hello, my name is Logan Staunton, and I'm studying the effects of beetroot juice on jumping ability, upper body muscular strength, and cardiorespiratory endurance in high school athletes with my mentor, Jose Gerardo. My hypothesis is that if high school athletes ingest 2 hours before testing beetroot juice or versus blackcurrant juice, the beetroot juice will show improvements in jumping ability, upper body muscular strength, and cardiorespiratory endurance.
And last, we just have one senior this year. So Ashlyn, she's all done with her research, and we're might have to shut her up about it because she could talk all night about it. But
Hi, my name is Ashlyn Hutchinson, and my study was on investigating the effectiveness of the eradication of Microcystis aeruginosa using sonication and magnetic filtration. Microcystis aeruginosa is one of the most commonly found toxic algae around the world, and it can cause humans and other organisms to die rapidly when coming to contact. And numerous eradication methods have been attempted in order to remove this algae in the past, but weren't very successful. And so I looked into two different methods, sonication and magnetic filtration, that were near successful, but not quite there. They each had a list of flaws, but when looking at them separately, it was a big problem. And when you would look at them together, a lot of them would overlap, in which magnetic filtration requires a low pH, for example, while sonication does not, or magnetic filtration requires gas vacuoles, while sonication does not. And so the list kept going on in which they would overlap, and so it led to my hypothesis that when implementing these two methods simultaneously, there would be a high level of initial reduction with little to no regrowth following. And if the algae grows back too fast, it's not a good solution, since it won't be able to be implemented on larger bodies of water or lower income situations. And I found around a 94% initial reduction rate when I was applying both methods, with cells depleting within days, the remaining cells depleting within days after.
And I always like to end tonight with, again, thank you very much for having us every year. This is awesome. But to let you know what our seniors have done, and since we only have one, basically what Ashlyn did this year. So the first thing, she was able to apply to the Regeneron Talent Search. It is one of the most difficult applications there is. It takes months, and just to be able to apply is a huge accomplishment. So she was able to submit her work to that. Another competition she went to was the Jshs, the Junior Science and Humanities Symposium. It's sponsored by Army, Navy, and Air Force, and this was held at Burnt Hills. Well, this year was virtual, and she won second place in her category, which she was able to go to the next level, which is called Upstate JSHS, held at Albany, where she was able to present a poster, and she won first place at that one. The next big competition that we all aspire to go to is called the Greater Capital Region Science and Engineering Fair. It's sponsored by Regeneron. This year it was held at Saratoga, and this year they stand by a poster and basically defend their work and get bombarded by judges over and over again. And I'm trying to think, 17 schools, Ashlyn, at that one? Yeah, so 17 different schools, a lot of people going to this one. She placed third overall, which the top three get invited to the International Science and Engineering Fair, which we'll talk about in a second. But she also won the American Society for Microbiology Award, and as well as the Stockholm Junior Water Prize, which that one allows you to compete or to submit to another thing, which she submitted to but did not win. So May 8th through the 13th, she was invited to Atlanta to present her research. Almost nearly 1,800 people, 1,800 students from around 70 different countries were there presenting their research, almost just like the same as hers. It was a huge opportunity to go there. The next couple ones just to show you, next slides. So the picture on the right of her pointing to that mess, those are all the names. It was kind of like a pyramid-shaped structure, and there were names of everybody all around, so just to go show you the scope of how many students were there. This one, it's hard to see from everybody, but I tried to take a picture of the size of the conference hall of what close to 1,800 projects looks like. The one on the left is looking at all the rows, so if you can't see the end, that's why. And the one on the right is looking down one single row, just to give you an idea. And these are people from 70 different countries presenting at that. She had some crazy experiences, and please ask her questions about it. Like the next one, she was able to collaborate with Turkey, Brazil, people from Brazil, from all over, and also National Geographic was there doing another documentary. The old documentary, I think, is on Netflix, if you ever want to watch. They went and did a documentary on this particular fair. I believe it's on Netflix. It's called Science Fair. And this one will also be, I believe, coming up soon on Netflix. I'm not sure if they are actually doing it or not. So awesome experience for her and for us, for our program. And then I always just like to throw the names up the new incoming students, the freshmen that will be sophomores next year. That'll be, hopefully you guys will be seeing what they're jumping into next year. So we got a good group of students coming up and a good group of students sticking around. So we're just losing one. So thank you again very much for all the support. I appreciate it.
So we didn't keep them up here to get a group picture. So can I get the science kids to come up on the risers? So if your parents want to get a photo, we'll do it on the risers. I think that's better. How about right here? Will we fit safely?
Come on up.
Come on up then. Come up on the stage. We'll do it the same way. We don't want anybody to get hurt. We want your picture, your parents to get a photo. If not, Mr. Bartuli's looking to get one.
Please ask them questions. Could you repeat that?
Okay, cupcake, guys. Cupcakes and cookies.
We've got just a few more recognitions, but again, please have a cupcake or a cookie. Anybody who's here, feel free to grab one.
What's up?
What a great night, right? We've had quite a year and a positive one. The word I have for it is success, and you're going to hear some more about that tonight. But certainly happy anytime we can have our students here. I want to say a great shout out to their parents. We know the students don't get here on their own, and certainly their teachers and all the school staff and everybody who supports them, family, friends, but certainly a shout out to the parents that are here with them tonight as well. A couple more, and I'm going to turn it over to the Vice President of the Board, Mr. Jeff Gollin, to do the next two recognition.
Yes. So thank you, all the students. You guys did a great job, and we appreciate you representing us. It's a great thing to hear. Out in the middle? Okay. So we'll move forward just a little bit. You want to come out here? Okay. So unfortunately, Matt LePan is not here this evening. I just want to recognize Matt as serving on the Board of Education since 2017. He was a very important part of our growth, and I want to thank Matt for being a part of our awesome group here. I can't say much more about that other than the fact that he did a great job. Thank you, Matt. We'll get this to you. And it's an honor and a privilege to present this plaque to Mr. Bishop, who has been with us as well since 2017. It seems like he's been here a lot longer than that, and I wish he was, because Ben played a huge part in our vision and our growth for the board the last few years, especially representing us as the president. He did a great job, and I can honestly say that I'm going to miss him. And I know I don't want to speak for everybody else, but I'm going to speak for everybody else. We all feel the same way, and I wish that you were here for another 20 years, Ben. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Great. So we have just a few more things to go, and then we'll switch gears. If you can bear with us just for a couple minutes, we want to try to keep everybody here, and then we'll say, hey, if you want to stay for the rest of the night, great. If you're looking to get home to study for exams or do things that teenagers do when the school year is winding down, we'll get you out of here. But if you can give us just a few more minutes, we'd really appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, so that's a tough act to follow. A lot of good stuff going on here tonight. Oh, sorry. I'm jumping out.
When Jeff gets all emotional like that, I forget where I am.
Probably saying a million other things that I want to say. So.
Okay. So there's another group. So you saw that we didn't have awards for the science group. That's because they received them earlier. And we have another group that was recognized earlier at a ceremony here at the high school. And we do want to have that list put up on the screen. But I wanted to recognize, the board wants to recognize the 2022 honor graduates. You'll see that list up there. Again, we had a full ceremony for them. Thanks to Mr. Benefield for putting that together and making sure they were recognized. It was great for me to be here. Do we have any of those honor graduates here in the room right now? Ashley. So if you're an honor graduate, could you also stand up? We just want to give you a round of applause. Congratulations to you all. And then I have one or two more things here. Thanks to Mike and Kelly for getting me back on track. So the reorganizational meeting, we'll have to have a quick discussion about it. Just want to make sure that everyone knows that it's the 5th of July. That's a tight turnaround, and we want to make sure that we have a quorum for that. We already have 3 board members who are on vacation that week, because we can change that date, but we'd have to do so tonight through affirmative action of the Board of Education. So we're ready to do so if necessary. So can we have a short discussion about that? Or actually, let's save that. Let's move to that. We'll talk about that a little later on under new business. That'll give people time to check their calendars without holding up our audience any longer than we need to. Okay. I am now complete.
All right. I only have a couple things. I won't keep folks too long here. Again, a great evening tonight. Between celebrating, our students and all of their accomplishments, whether it's, again, the science team, our foreign language students. Senora Miller's not here tonight, but if she was, she could vouch for how terrible of a Spanish speaker I was, and the contributions that group has on this group to have. I can't remember if it was 7 or 8 biliteral students is really pretty fascinating. So, great job to that group. Our retirees, I counted quickly. I mean, we have 195 years of experience exiting, the district at this time, which, is not an easy thing to replace and fill. So thank you, all of you folks, for all of your contributions, throughout your careers and the profound impacts you've had on students. When you think about how many students each one of you have touched over those 195 years and the impact that you've had, it's pretty significant. So again, thank you all for your contributions, and I know through the work that Dan and our administrative team have done, that we've got another group right behind you, ready to contribute. Changing gears a little bit on the board, it's certainly a little bittersweet for me here tonight. I'm very proud of the accomplishments that this group, not just myself, sometimes I think I get too much credit, but this group specifically has accomplished over not only the last 5 years, but really the last 3 years. And a couple of things I want to highlight. From a board development perspective, this group really completely changed how this board does business. In my opinion, we made this board a professional board. We changed our committee structure, so committees actually worked and provided work versus just meeting in public and going through the motions. We completed superintendent evaluations, which hadn't been done historically in this district, which is one of the legal obligations of a board. This group, when challenged, stepped up to the occasion and started doing those things. We've successfully completed a Board of Ed self-evaluation in the last 3 years, and we'll do so this year as well. This board has committed to professional development themselves and attending a number of professional development activities each year, not only to become better board members, but to have better contributions to the district and ultimately our students. I'm proud of the financial direction this district's in, largely in part due to the strong staff we have, and Dan and Kevin and their countless contributions. But in the past 3 years, we've passed a well-thought-out capital project. This year, we passed a capital reserve that sets aside additional fundings to make sure that this capital project is on the right path and minimizes voter and taxpayer contributions in years to come, so that we can provide the students with all of the capital improvements that our buildings desperately need. We've been able to pass a budget the last 2 years of 0% tax levy increases, which I don't know if that's ever happened. And on top of all that, this group, successfully completed not only an interim superintendent evaluation search, but has also effectively selected Mr. Ward as our new superintendent, who has really had a great year. But above all of those things, I'm proud of all of that work. But what I'm most proud of is really our students and our staff, what they've accomplished the last 3 years in COVID, in times of uncertainty. Tom Murphy not knowing how he's going to get kids on a bus, but always finding a way, and making sure our bus routes are there. Whether it's our nursing staff showing up and changing and constantly moving targets from all the different regulatory agencies that have impacted schools over the last 3 years. This core group of administration, staff, support have really delivered and made the best of a not great situation. So I'm really proud of that group. And again, our students. You heard from a small segment, but a significant segment of what they've been able to accomplish, and in the face of adversity, in the face of Google Meets and a changing education landscape. We still had somebody that went and competed in Atlanta with 1,800 students, and that's amazing to me. So hats off to that group. Again, I'm proud of the work that we've done, and I'm proud of our students and staff. And so with that, I can adjourn. That's all I have. without saying as well that I'm happy and I'm confident in the direction not only that the district has headed under Mr. Ward's leadership, but this board has headed in too. You guys have all really rise to the challenge and have strengthened your chops, and I know you guys are all primed to continue the work that we have ahead of us, and I know you guys will do a great job. So with that, I'm going to stop talking. I think you've got a short intermission planned. Is that right?
Yeah, so we think we'll take 5 minutes for folks just to say hi and congratulations and thank you. Please take a cookie or a cupcake if you hadn't had, and then we're going to come back and go into our regular meeting. You're welcome to stay for the whole meeting. It's absolutely open to the public. We also understand that it is Flag Day, and maybe you have a Flag Day celebration you need to be at, or something else going on this evening that's very important. So again, we'll take 5 and we'll come right back and start our business.
Need a mic. I'm loud by name.
Okay, folks, we'll call the meeting back to order. Thanks, folks who stuck around. We'll begin our meeting with the approval of our routine items. In your packets, you'll see the minutes of the committee, the minutes for the meeting of May 9th, as well as the minutes on the Committee of Special Education for multiple dates listed below. If there are no questions or discussion on the routine items, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Amanda. And a second? Thank you, Jeff. All those in favor? Aye, great. That will carry. Do we have any public comments this evening? Okay, hearing none, we'll move forward. First up, we have our Personnel Committee. Mr. LePan's not able to be here tonight. There's a number of items in your packet on personnel. A lot of what you would expect to see in a June meeting as far as retirees and folks moving on to different positions, as well as some appointments to our different department chairs, department grade level coordinators, team leaders, lunch supervisors, et cetera, all those types of moves for the upcoming school year. Dan, anything you want to highlight for this group within personnel?
No, you nailed it. Annual appointments, and then we've got some folks, a lot of times I get asked a question about the resignations. We do have some folks who have secured jobs in the school district in which they live and where their children go to school. So we wish them good luck, anybody who's moving on, just like we do to our retirees, and thank them for their service here. The other is there's two items and that we're going to table till after executive session. Do you want me to list those? Or
Sure, if you want to, that's great.
Yep, so there's two items. One will be a motion having to deal with the Executive Director of Business and Human Resources, the Assistant Superintendent for Education and Accountability. That motion will be tabled and moved till after executive session. There's a second resolution about confidential employees and contract settlement agreement. That one will be moved afterwards. So when you act by consent, you'll be acting everything in that agenda for personnel except those two items. We'll act on those separately after executive session.
Correct. As you guys all know, personnel agenda is done through consent. If there's no further discussion, personnel would approve.
I did have a couple questions that I had, this is so loud, that I had emailed and just didn't get an answer to yet, so I figured I would try to ask them here, if that's okay. Just a little business, I'm a stickler for dates and stuff. Under the appointments, the instructional with the Games Club, Diversity Club, Esports, are the dates listed correct for approving them? Because a lot of them say 21 to 22. One of them says December of 22 to June of 22. That's good? Okay.
So we're catching up on appointments. We did bring a lot of additional offerings to our students this year. So some of that paperwork lagged behind.
Okay.
So these things are up and moving. And
Okay.
we want to make sure that we're properly board approved.
Okay. And in the resignations, there seem to be an awful lot of coaches. Do we know why that's happening?
Yep. Again, we have some individuals who have secured jobs otherwise, so they're leaving their teaching positions and their coaching positions. Some of those teachers coached more than one position. We've got some other folks who held coaching positions from outside the district who have either secured a position with another school district where they're teaching, and so it doesn't work, or they're folks who are not working in the teaching ranks and have decided they have to, for personal reasons or professional reasons, not coach here.
Okay. That was it.
Okay. Thank you, Amanda. Any other questions or comments on personnel? Okay, hearing none, personnel would carry through consent. Next up, we have athletics. I turn it over to Jeff for our athletics update.
Okay, so we met yesterday afternoon briefly and discussed a few items. The first thing, the athletic committee suggests making a recommendation to approve Dr. Nielsen as our school doctor. And we had some discussion based on that information. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of some of it or not, but we only had a couple of people get back to us regarding the fact of, for the quote itself or whatever for the RFP. And we had Dr. Nielsen and we had Hudson Headwaters. And the service provided between the two is not even close. Dr. Nielsen has a much better package deal, and that's why we're continuing to recommend him for another term, which will be 3 years, Mr. Ward?
Correct.
Okay. So we make the athletic committee makes a recommendation to approve that.
And you'll see that resolution actually under audit. So it originally came through audit, but given the crossover nature of Dr. Nielsen's support to the district, we wanted to make sure that the athletic committee had a chance to review it as well and endorse it, and they have done so as well. So it's kind of by committee support at this point.
The second thing, this past weekend we had the senior sports banquet. Mr. Carpenter did a great job. Mr. Ward gave a great speech. Everybody in attendance had a great time. It was really nice. So thank you for that, Mr. Carpenter and Mr. Ward. And to the Booster Club, Tiger Tracker, it's the Tiger Tracker Booster Club. So thank you to Rebecca Smith for putting that on as well as the committee. Mr. Carpenter stated the fact that summer camps will be starting for like basketball and lacrosse and other sports just after school ends. So that I think that some of these programs will start like the week just after the 25th. The other thing discussed was family ID, and just a quick note, family ID opens July 1st just for signups. That is not for any documentation for like the actual sports to do for like, medical and things like that. It's just to really allow parents to register, get set up for. It's open now. Oh, I thought it was open July 1st, but okay. It's open.
I did register.
So you did it? Okay. So it's open right now to register and get yourself all set up for the 25th, because it officially opens the 25th for all medical documentation for the student athletes' paperwork that's required to participate. And what else do we have? So some of the vacancies we already saw, like on the personnel committee. The girls' hockey merger is moving forward. The team will be called Adirondack United, and I think that consists of multiple schools. Hudson Falls, I think, Southlands Falls.
Yeah, there's 6 that are contemplating being part of it. It'll depend on what we get for, what each school gets for students who are interested when we get there. But our name is in the hat, so our students will have the ability to be on the girls' hockey team if they so wish.
Right. And lastly, Derby Park will have their official grand opening this Saturday coming up at 11 o'clock it starts. So hopefully you can attend that. That's going to be a great thing, and I'm sure if you have been down there at all to take a look at that, it is absolutely stunning the way that it transformed into what it is right now from what it was. But so that will be June 18th at 11 o'clock. Is there anything else that we need to cover?
No, I think you nailed it.
Okay, that concludes the athletic committee.
Thank you for the update, Jeff. Our audit committee also met. I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Grimaldi for an audit update.
We had quite a few things for audit committee this month. This is for our June meeting. So I'll start with the treasurer's report. This is from April. In the general fund, we had $3.4 million in receipts. Thank you, Mr. Ward. And 8.9 and 3.9 in disbursements, leaving a total balance of 8.9 in the general fund, and a total cash on hand balance of 10.7 million. So we're in a good cash position as we head into the end of the year. Some of the big months, just particularly June that we're in, is a fairly large month with extra salaries, and also the I believe our bond payments also come through in June. So, but we are in good position through to the end of the year. Also, we kind of celebrated a lot of great things going on here tonight. There's just some other, certainly the balance or the activity in the extracurricular account balances or accounts are further evidence of the great things that are going on. We did have 2 proms this year, so you can see some activity in the class of 2023 account as well as 2022. There also was quite a deposit in the drama account from donations from the community, so that kind of goes to show how well attended the production was, the Drowsy Chaperone, and also how supportive the community was. So that was great to see. And then there's some other fundraisers and stuff that were fairly substantial as well. So quite a bit of activity there, which is good to see. The monthly bills are in your board packets. Did anyone have any questions on those? Also, just kind of piggybacking off of what Jeff had already talked about with the school physician RFP that was put out, done every 3 years, as he said. We did get only 2 responses. But again, as he echoed, we had quite a bit of a discussion. Jody was also there, our head nurse for the district, and kind of gave us some insight as to what Dr. Nielsen does for our nurses and how he supports families in our district. So the amount of services that he offers were really far and above what Hudson Headwaters Health Network was proposing. So that is, Audit also recommends that we approve him being for the next 3 years his proposal for our school physician. Sorry. I think, and then there's quite a few other resolutions and stuff. I think I'll turn it over to Mr. Ward and Mr. Palensi to cover kind of the rest of that stuff.
Do you want to do
do we want to approve?
Sure.
the approval of the...
We can do the first 2, yeah.
Sorry.
So you've heard Audit Committee's recommendation on the Treasurer's Report. There's no further discussion. I'll entertain a motion to approve the Treasurer's Report.
I don't know. So
Thank you, Jeff. In a second. Thank you, Amanda. All those in favor? Aye. Great. That will carry.
The next thing that we had on the agenda was the serial bond resolution. Each year we have to take out a serial bond to pay for school buses that we purchase. It's a 5-year bond, and it's in the amount of $375,000. So what we need the board to do is approve the district to go forward with that. And it's for our 44 passenger school buses and 266 passenger school buses. And this is a roll call that has to be done for this bond resolution. So basically what it does is it allows us to go out and borrow the sum of $375,000 to pay for the school buses, and then the debt service payments match up with the state aid payments over a 5-year period. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, I'll do the roll call. Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Mr. Gallen?
Yes.
Mr. LePan is absent. Dr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Keenan?
Yes.
Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mrs. Landsman?
Yes.
Mrs. Andrzejkovics?
Yes.
And Mrs. Grimaldi?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next item that we had on the agenda was our internal audit. We currently have Alan Prindle, who is our internal auditor. He's a former state controller auditor, and he comes in each year, and he is kind of a middle layer of auditing that the district has. And what he focuses on, he'll choose a certain area, usually where there's disbursements, to focus on our process, our procedures, and make sure that they're being done correctly, and make sure that everything's being processed correctly. This year, he's doing purchasing, which is obviously big in a district our size. And he's doing the 21-22 year, but he's also going back to the 19 year. So he's actually going to do it over a 3-year period. So it's a rather thorough audit. These are the things that we do each year with this audit. He'll know any things that we may need to change or tweak for our processes. And this gets us in good shape for every 6 or 7 years when the state controller comes in. Everything is lined up very well through these audits. This is a little bit more detailed than our external audit because it focuses on one area, and there's a lot of samples sampling, and he really gets into detail there. So we will be coming back. I'm guessing it's probably going to be the August meeting by the time the report's written. We'll have him come in, present the report to the board at the August meeting. So he's still doing the audit at this point in time. I'm not sure when he's going to be done, probably by the end of next week sometime, but then he needs some time to go back and write the audit up. So it probably will be the August meeting that you'll have the internal audit. Dan, if you don't mind, I'll skip over 2 items that you're going to talk about. I'll go down to the bottom, which is the district-wide safety member approval. You can see that on the agenda. Several years ago, when we started the safety committee, we discussed who was going to be members of that. And what we're doing is we're appointing basically positions or titles to the safety committee meeting, because that could, some people could fluctuate in or out. I'll give you a prime example. Elementary teacher, that could be one person one year, but it could be another person the next year. So rather than having to go back and correct it, we're doing that by title. But you can see the list of members that we have. This year, I believe we met 9 out of the 10 months. I think there was 1 month that we didn't meet. Obviously, there's a lot of work on the plate for the safety committee, and what we do is we receive input through the districts, through the teacher reps, and my feeling is it's been a very productive group this year. We're looking forward to doing that in the future. So basically, what we need the board to do is approve the list for the safety committee, and obviously we'll move forward in September with, or even the end of August with some meetings to get going with the new school year.
Okay. Dan, do you want to do your other 2 items?
Yep, so two items just to bring people through the audit committee meeting. Spoke briefly about the Champlain Hudson Power Express. We're calling it CHIPE or CHPE now, so if you hear different names, just trying to keep everybody up to speed. We did get an update from Dave O'Brien. Thanks to Mark Gallo for asking me to reach out and get that. I provided that to the whole board. That money will come on the schedule he provided to us. It's not instant. They have been in the town of Fort Edward working on getting construction underway and getting the proper permitting down there. So it's going to be coming to a theater near you real soon. We'll keep you updated, and we're certainly looking at that as one of the ways to offset some of the building projects that need to be occurring here in the district over the next. The project pays over 30 years once it gets fully completed and goes into operation. And for folks who haven't heard this, especially if there's people in the public watching, this is the high transmission line that's going to be going from Canada all the way to New York City. It happens to go through several school districts, Hudson Falls being one of them. So it's a low impact project for our school district as far as ground and land and residents being concerned about it. It will be a high impact for our district as far as finances are concerned. Second one is CS Solar. CS Solar came and met here at Hudson Falls. We offered to be the meeting place, came here and met with the Hudson Falls School District, so Kevin and I, the Argyle Central School District, their superintendent and business manager, and the officials from the town of Fort Edward who joined us remotely, along with the folks from CS Solar. They're building a large-size solar farm, or looking to build. It looks like it's going to happen. It's actually in the towns of Fort Edward, and a little bit, and when it splits up, it's about half in our school district and half in Argyle. There's more to come on that. Right now, folks have to have our permission to have solar projects in our school district, so they have to make it attractive to us. Kevin and I have been looking at the numbers. We've asked them to go back and look at their numbers again and come back with a proposal and paper that we can share with the audit committee and talk to them again, along with the town of Fort Edward and the Argyle Central School District. We want what's good for the school district. We want what's good for the residents. They've shown us where the project lies. It's vacant land right now, but certainly we want to make sure we do this the right way. We don't want to have something in our community that folks don't want, or that doesn't make any sense financially to us, because basically if we don't sign a pilot with them, then they go on the tax roll. So we want to make sure if the town of Fort Edward is going to approve this project and it's going to go forward, that we do what's best for our school district. If that's the pilot, great. If that's they go on the tax rolls, great. We just don't know yet because we don't have all the information, but want to keep you updated that something's going on, because if you hear about a big solar project and you haven't heard, or if the folks who watched at home haven't heard, we don't want that to be the case for anybody. No surprises if we can avoid them. Those are my two items.
Okay, thank you, audit team. So with that, we've still got a number of resolutions. Kevin did the roll call, but we still also need a formal motion to approve the serial bond resolution. So hearing the recommendation and having already heard the roll call, I would entertain a motion to approve the serial bond resolution for the purchase of the buses.
So moved.
Thank you, Crystal. Seconded by Amanda.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Great, that will carry.
We have Kevin confirm the roll call, just so we're doing it in the right order, Ben.
I'm sorry?
Just have Kevin confirm the roll call, so we're doing it in the right order.
What's wrong?
Will you do the roll call again, Kevin, just so we've got it in the proper order? Can you do the roll call again, so we have it in the proper order? We have the motion in the second.
Yes, I can.
Please.
Let me just, okay. Mr. Gallo? Yes. Mr. Gallen?
Yes.
Mr. LePan is absent. Dr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Keenan?
Yes.
Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mrs. Landsman? Mrs. Andrikovics?
Yes.
And Mrs. Grimaldi?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I've got it written down here.
Perfect. And so we also heard the recommendation for the district-wide safety committee members. If there's no further discussion on that topic, I would entertain a motion to approve the updated safety committee members.
So moved.
Thank you, Jeff. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Crystal. All those in favor? All right, great. That will carry as well.
Just one note on that, Ben. So our district-wide safety plan has to be on our school website for 30 days prior to approval by the board. Just wanted to say publicly that ours went up at the beginning of, they go up Monday?
Yep.
It went on the website either Friday or Monday, so we'll have 30 days by the time we get to the August meeting. But I just wanted to say publicly, it's there. It has an email address where you can provide feedback to the school district. And that wasn't what we were taking action on. It was just the members. But I wanted to make sure I said that publicly this evening.
Great. And additionally, you've heard the by-committee support for the approval of Dr. Nielsen as a school physician. So if there's no additional conversation on that topic, I would entertain a motion to approve his appointment.
So moved.
Thank you, Jeff. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Crystal. All those in favor? Aye. I think that will carry. I only heard from this half of the board. Okay, that will conclude audit. Next up, we have transportation. Dr. Steele, you want to take us through the transportation update?
Yeah, the transportation is really just an update this month. You can see the DOT report and the trip report. The news is really with Mr. Murphy retiring. We all heard some nice things about him tonight. I'll echo a few more. I've been involved with the Transportation Committee in one way, shape, or form for 10 or 12 years. He's been there that whole time plus, and he's always been a consummate professional, very proactive. Very few problems have come through, but as they have, he's handled them very well. It was a very stable department, so I certainly miss him. And if you guys saw in the personnel committee, we approved Mr. Aaron Cooper to start effective July 1st. So.
Do you have any questions for Dr. Steele? No? Okay, thank you. Buildings and grounds did not meet. Anything additional you want to report out, Mark?
Just one comment. You saw the safety plan link in the audit report. I'm very pleased that a major portion of our capital project is going to involve safety, especially the entrances to our buildings. So look forward to that starting at some point.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gallo. And next up, we have our policy committee. I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Landsman for a policy update.
As you guys can see, we have a lot of first reads on here, and then just one second read. What I'm going to do is actually turn it over to Mr. DiCaprio for the majority of these first reads. I can take that last one, but I'm going to turn it over to Mr. DiCaprio for most of them, since they involve curriculum, a lot of them.
All right, so thank you. First reads Curriculum 8110, Curriculum Development and Resources and Evaluation. 2 bullets to know. This one clarifies some definitions, curriculum, instruction, and learning standards. And the other big piece is that it clarifies the Board of Ed responsibility for curriculum. Your second one is 8320, textbooks, library materials, and other instructional materials. Again, this one adds definitions. This used to be only library materials, but it adds definitions for texts and other materials. It also includes calculators as the responsibility of a material that we need to supply to students. And it also adds the objectives for choosing materials, which would be on page 3. When we choose materials, of course, they should align with state learning standards and meet the various needs and interests and present various sides of controversial issues and so forth. 8330 is objection to instructional materials and controversial issues. This is a rewrite of a current policy as well. This one also adds definitions of controversial issues, instructional material, library material, and textbooks. And it adds a process or protocol and an internal process or protocol for challenging materials. And this will line up and replace a current internal process procedure that we have with our library materials already. 8340. This one is fairly repetitive. If you read one section, you've read all 4 sections: textbooks, instructional computer hardware, smart school technology, and computer software. 5, and library materials. All of this is about the use of hardware and materials by our private schools, and it details they must request by a certain date, and they must pay for lost damage. We don't pay for religious materials. Those are your 3 main bullets on that one. Those are your first reads on my piece.
Okay. While Mr. DiCaprio is still prepared here, does anybody have any questions on those?
Mr. DiCaprio, can you just share what you kind of had emailed to me, just the intention as far as what the board's role
Yep, gladly.
is going to be?
So the question is about the board's responsibility for curriculum and materials. By law, the Board of Ed is the steward, has responsibility for curriculum, for instruction, for materials. By policy, that's laid out that you have the responsibility for those things, and you pass that responsibility on to Mr. Ward. You pass it on to the superintendent. The idea being that our policy reflects the law, and it also makes sure that you never have to get into the weeds on picking a second grade textbook versus this book. That wouldn't be your place. What I would add is Mr. Warden and I are trying to get on basically a 5-year cycle where each year you would see 1 core subject and 1 special subject as a curriculum update per year. So for example, at the June meeting you would see K-12 science and K-12 art. And the following year you might see K-12 social studies and K-12 music. But the idea would be across 5 years you see all of your subjects, 1 core and 1 special. And that would serve to be your curriculum update, keep you in the loop on what we're doing in-house. Does that cover it?
Yeah, that was perfect.
Great.
And I think that's a great approach, so thank you very much for digging into it.
Okay.
Credit card one.
Yep, thank you for that. So the last one on first reads is 5321, the use of district credit card. And what we're looking to do is increase the limit on the card to $10,000 from 5, is that where it is now? Okay.
5 to 10.
Yep, go from 5 to 10. Basically because we before had previously combined cards, but with teams going to states, like for instance the cheerleading team, we didn't have enough money on the card to book rooms and that stuff for the teams. And with students starting to go abroad now and everything as well, that being opened back up, we just wanted to have a little bit more leeway on the one card rather than having to use a bunch together. Did I do that right, Mr. Palenzi? Is that what it is, basically?
Just for clarity, we have 1 credit card, and whose name is on it? Mr. Palenzi's. Yep. So we have, I would say, adequate controls on that. Our treasurer controls when he has access to that card. He does not have access to it without going through her. And we pay the bill each month. We don't hold balances and pay interest. We pay the bill in full each month. and I've been at other districts where there's more than one credit card. Not speaking poorly about them, but I will tell you the tightest controls you can have is one card with one signer, and that being watched over by a second person. So we're in a good spot with that.
Okay, so that's all we have for first reads. Under second reads, we have 7552, and you will see it there twice, basically. The policy pulse, the red line, and the clean version. The reason it's there twice is the bottom, letter F, the clean version, has basically one line, two lines that have been changed. It wasn't enough to warrant another first read. It was literally one sentence that was changed. And I don't know if anybody looked at both of them, but I mean, really, it's like 5 words. So if anybody doesn't have any questions about that policy, we are approving that one tonight. Good, that's it.
You've heard the recommendations from Policy Committee. If there's no additional discussion, I would entertain a motion to approve the second read policy updates. Thank you, Crystal. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Heidi. All those in favor? Aye. Great, that will carry as well. Advocacy and our Public Relations Committee did not meet this month, but Heidi, anything you want to report out to the group?
No, I think that I'll be watching to see if there's any movement following recent events in terms of gun safety and schools specifically. But the legislative session is over, and so whether or not the momentum from that still exists in a couple of months, I'll be interested to see. But that's all I'll be watching.
Okay. So that concludes our committee updates. We do have 2 items of new business. The first up is the school calendar update. I'll turn it over to Mr. Ward to walk the board through the changes that are listed here.
Yeah, just quickly, there are some half days for students in the last week of school, so that week of the 23rd, 24th, or sorry, the 20th on. We did make some changes. That's based on contractual obligations to our Teachers Association. They're required to have a certain number of half days at the end of the school year. We're meeting that obligation. So just want to have that there. We kept them in as full days because we had no idea how the year was going to go. I'm happy to say that we had a very challenging year, but a very successful year. So that's where we're at. And we won't have the students here on the last day, the 24th is Friday. Yep. We won't have any students here. We do have some staff that will be here. We have the correct number of days for state aid. Again, you heard me talking at the previous meeting about not having to use a lot of snow days or emergency closing days for COVID reasons. So we're able to do so to meet the appropriate number of days for each one of our contracts as well as for the State Education Department.
Okay. So you've heard the recommendation from Mr. Ward. Are there any questions or additional discussion? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve. Thank you, Jeff. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Crystal. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Great. That will carry as well. And the second item of new business, Mr. Ward, that you can take us through is just the potential changes to the July reorganizational meeting.
Yes. So for certain, we have Kelly received responses from 3 board members who are not able to be here at the July 5th meeting, where it's currently scheduled by statute. So just want to see if we're going to have the other 6 be here. Matt's not here, but Matt's term is over, so we don't have to worry about him. I see that Vince is out there, so I probably will just ask him if he's going to be here once we know we have from here. I don't see Mike Fitzgerald out there, but I believe they both told Kelly that they would be there. We'll confirm that. But the other folks, are going to be able to be here the 5th? If not, we have to move it by affirmative resolution this evening.
I will be here.
I will be.
Good.
You're good? Mark, you're good?
We're good. Vince, I know you're right out there, so I just going to... Thumbs up? Thumbs up, okay.
And Mike said he was good.
Mike, so we're going to continue on. Well, I guess I'll ask the board. 6 members, does the board feel comfortable with 6 members for the organizational meeting, or do we want to try to do something different to see if we can hit more? My concern is, and I did share it with Ben ahead of time, and I know not Ben's necessarily it's his concern, but he's not going to be part of that meeting. Is 6 enough to do it, or should we try to hit a different week? My concern is if we pick a different week, it's 3 other people who are on vacation in July. If we pick another one, it's 3 other people that are on vacation in July. So I'll open it up to any discussion you folks want to have, and then whatever recommendation you want to make to President Bishop for that date. If we're good with the 5th, no action necessary. If we need to do something else, we have to have a resolution. So you had a consensus to keep the date the same. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate the time.
Okay. That concludes our regular scheduled meeting here. We do have the anticipated need for an executive session tonight for a number of items. 1, contract discussion for an individual employee, and 2, to discuss the performance of an individual employee. We do have anticipated action once our executive session is over. So this group will be coming back, anticipated to vote on one item, and then we would be adjourning directly from then. So with that, I would entertain a motion to move into executive session at this time. Thank you, Jeff. And a second. Thank you, Amanda. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Great. That will carry. Thank you, folks. All right, so I would entertain a motion to move out of executive session. Thank you, Amanda. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Heidi. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, great. You got the time, Dan? Okay. All right, so thank you, folks, for the slight delay. We've been able to have our discussion in executive session. And at this time, I would entertain a motion to accept the conditions discussed in executive session regarding the employment contracts for both Kevin Palenci and Mike DiCaprio, as well as the contract negotiations with the individual members of the managerial and confidential staff. Thank you, Amanda. In a second?
Second.
Thank you, Crystal. There's no further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. That will carry. And that concludes our planned business for this evening. If nobody has anything additional, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Amanda. Seconded by Jeff. All those in favor? Aye. Great. Have a good evening, folks.